Now we all know that the this keyword inside JavaScript is quite a strange fellow. So in this video we're going to talk about the bind function and how does that relate to our this. So I have defined here a simple object like you've previously seen. It has an x variable and it has a print variable, and this print is an anonymous function that makes use of this x through the this keyword. Right, so I'm just printing the x's value through the this.x construct. So if I simply try to run this function, so I say obj.print and I try to run this, you'll notice it all works nice and dandy. So I have x equals 5, as x is 5. But what happens if I store this print function inside a variable and then pass it along many ways, and I end up with just a variable to that function, a sort of reference, not the obj.print construct. So if I have, for example, a let handler equals obj.print, right? So let's say that's a handler for a certain action in our program. So now if I try to print this, if I try to just call this handler instead of calling obj.print, you'll notice something peculiar. We're actually getting x is undefined. But why is that? That's because of the way this works. How this is defined inside a function is in the way it is called. Right here, previously we have called obj.print, and that said, okay, this will be obj, right? Because we basically prefix the function's call with obj. But in this case, handler is prefixed with nothing, and nothing means the global object. If I would have prefixed it with anything else, that's what the this will be. So what I have done here is create another object, obj2, that has this handler, right? And basically is a reference to this print function, right, from the original obj. And we're just calling this handler function. Let's see what's going to happen here. If I try to run this, you'll notice the same thing. X is also undefined. That's because in this case, the this keyword was actually obj2, because this is the way we have called, right? We have called it obj2.handler. No matter where the handler comes from, the this keyword, that's how it's actually determined. But there are ways around this. We can actually sort of fix this keyword to be exactly what we tell it to be. And that's where the bind function comes in. The bind function works on functions. So we can actually call the bind on our print function. So you can say dot bind, and here we have to give it a parameter. And that parameter is going to be our this parameter. And we can actually give it our obj, right? And if we do this, we are basically setting the this keyword as being obj no matter where it's called from, right? And if we try to run this now, you'll notice that in this case, x is actually 5. So we know that this was this obj because we have x which has the value 5 in it, right? So this is a way you can actually fix the this parameter inside a function, okay? Don't just pass in a simple reference to a function, call the bind function on it, and this is going to return, well, the same function but with a this bound to it, with the obj as the this keyword. So I hope you got something out of this video. I know it was a little bit short this time, but it's very important to know about the bind function. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below or on our Discord channel. We have an invite on the description down below. Check that out if you want. And that's about it. Thank you for watching and see you guys next time. Take care.